Hey, welcome to the show, Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. Arif Halaby along with Jeff Gerard talking about your family's finances. Of course, getting out of debt, managing money, planning for the future. All right, there's a 1.3 trillion, with the T, trillion dollar time bomb. Have you heard of that? People are, what does that mean? What do you mean time bomb? That means it's going to explode and something's going to change very dramatically. And what is that? It's the college loans. That means there's $1.3 trillion sitting outstanding of college loans that have that are not paid yet, right? That's outstanding. And every semester that passes, every school year that passes, that number gets higher and higher. So what does that mean for you? It means a couple of things. Even if you don't have kids in college, even if you're not attending college, it still means you're going to have to pay for it. Why? Because it is a tax nightmare. Every time, look, I don't know if this is a political party-leaning conversation one way or the other, but every time the government gets involved with something, the prices go up. Is that controversial? Is that debatable? Is that something that says, oh, well, maybe it is? I don't know. Does it? Well, very simple. Right? When a university knows that it's guaranteed a minimum of whatever, the Stafford loan, the student loan, or the grants, or the Pell Grant, Cal Grant, etc., the grants that come out, every time a university knows it's receiving those dollars, do you understand that the university itself considers that the zero? That's the floor. That's the minimum amount of money they're going to make without doing anything. That's just them walking in the door. Now, that is a very important part to your scenario, because if your college loans are a part of you or your kid's future, or maybe you've saved up the money and maybe they're not going to have to borrow money, you still will pay for it because there are defaults. And if they know that 2/3 of the kids that attend the school are going to get college loans, and that raises the price, and you're a cash paying customer, what does that do to your price? It's the same, right? It goes up this is a very important part, because your retirement will suffer if you have a college parent loan on your young people and your children. And if you haven't looked at the job prospects of the last 10 years, there just isn't any. Just yesterday, a friend of mine says, parents took out a student loan. It's quite a bit. Private school money, room and board, everything. It was a private school. $30,000, $33,000, I think, a year times 4, because they wanted the college experience.
That's right.
So we can't go to a community college because we need the experience. I go, well, then how about the experience of your butt going to work? What do you mean the experience? I worked as a policeman in Cal State Northridge area and UCLA. Sometimes the weekend college experience meant taking a couch and lighting it on fire on the front lawn of the sorority or the fraternity.
You get credit for that?
Yeah. Or these guys are wonderful, but in the middle of summer they would set themselves up with lawn chairs on the roof and have a keg and be, really? Well, I don't know what experience. Well, it's nice and it's social. I get it. Can you afford it? I want the experience of, backpacking through Europe and staying only in the Ritz-Carlton and the Four Seasons. I want the experience of that. Oh, wait, it comes with the dollar figure? That's okay. I'll let you guys pay for it. Oh, wait, no, taxpayers won't pay for it? Right? I don't care what experience you want if you pay for it, but if you're taking out student loans, me, Jeff, you as the taxpayer are the one that becomes responsible for their experience. Look, I get it. All of us have dreams. Jeff, I don't know about your prom, but the hype about the prom was much greater than the actual prom itself.
Same way for me.
Uncomfortable. Yeah. It wasn't fun. It was, just didn't work, right? It wasn't
sure.
The experience of the prom. Well, I think college experience has a very similar letdown where people get there and they go, it's just okay, it's school. I got to go to work and do my thing, and then I have 3 jobs. And for me, I had swim practice in my first semester, so that means I was in the pool at 5 or 5:30 in the morning. But my first class didn't start till 9 sometimes, so I would go back to my pickup truck and sleep in the bed. I had a camper shell, or I would go to the library and do work or whatever I had to do. But I don't know how much greater that experience was if I would have $1 million to pay for my college. Maybe it would have been nicer, but who cares? Because I could pay for it if I had $1 million, great. But I didn't, so I had to work 2 jobs, and so ultimately I couldn't be in swim team the second year because look, you have to work. Somebody has to pay the bills.
If you look at college as what it really is, it's a means to getting out into the world and having a chance to work in a field or an industry and have a competitive edge without having any work experience. That's really what it is. College, in my opinion, when you get that degree and you do what you're supposed to do while you're there, it's the way to afford interviews and an audience with companies that probably wouldn't look at you otherwise without the experience.
And here's what we're seeing, Jeff, is across the board. Parents are thinking they're doing the right thing by taking out these parent loans in their name. Their daughter or son graduate with a degree in biology, psychology, English, wonderful degrees, amazing things.
Yes.
And then they get a job just the other day at a manager at one of these big box stores at Target, I'll tell you. She says she's got a degree in, I don't know, whatever it is, and she's working as a manager at Target. That's all. That's great. I'm not saying that's a bad job.
No.
But one has nothing to do with the other. There should be a degree like the liberal studies degree. Fine, let's give that to everybody. Let's do 2 years at a community college, and that's the one you need. That should be the standard. Oh, you want to become a biologist? Go down that road. You want to become a chemist? Go down that road. An engineer? Fine. But don't think that the four-year colleges should not be allowed to do the first 2 years. They just shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Remove that. Let the community colleges who do it best, we have one of the best community colleges in the nation right in our backyard, have the 4-year universities, strip away all of those costs and those tenured professors and the administrators who make nothing but, massive amounts of dollars with amazing pensions and benefits. They work, 6 months out of the year, 8 months out of the year, sometimes nothing compared, right? Because they have their PhD students, their grad students and doing a lot of the work, especially for their lower division classes. So this is my proposal. I don't know if it's ever been anywhere else, but now you've heard it here because I'm just making it up. 4-year universities, the only way to save this $1.3 trillion in student loan debt, people say, we should just forgive it. Are you kidding me? You go to college should be less. You go to your college professors and administrators, and the man or woman that helps manicure the lawns, and the man or woman who helps the facilities do the construction work and fix the plumbing problems. And you tell them you're going to have to take a pay cut. Or there's 5 of you here, 2 of you have to go get a different job. You don't want to do that? Well, then you have to figure out how you're going to pay for this. And if you want to pay for it, if at the end you say this is worth it because it's a great education, it's a great experience, fantastic. Then it's your money, not taxpayer money. The world is not the same. Look, I know you're not going to like hearing this, but it isn't the same. Knowledge used to be kept in those brick buildings with the ivory on the outside, and the ivy vines growing up, and the marble, and those ivory columns, and that's where knowledge was. Let's go get it. Today, where is knowledge? It's not there anymore.
It's on your hip.
It's here, right?
It's at the library for free if you want it.
Starbucks, coffee, bean, and tea leaf, right? Pete's Coffee. You can go anywhere.
Right.
Soon to be the Main Brew, one of the best places right here in Newhall. You can go anywhere, free Wi-Fi, sit there, do your homework, learn to speak French, learn to build a bridge. You can do almost anything you want for free. So why is it we are still paying for the same old fees? In my opinion, it's because those folks want to be paid. Now, that's up to you if you think they should, right? If we should have all those folks. Look, that's not my job to decide. That's too big. It's not my pay grade. It's somebody else's. But realize that's what happens. If you take away those dollars, you have to shut down some of these places and maybe retire off some of these professors who walk around, look at the ground, wear the same gray or beige coat. I've seen them. Probably some of my professors are still there walking in the halls of UCLA. Never look at you in the eye. They walk around. They have a briefcase that's beat up. The snap doesn't work anymore. It's just a flap now.
Yep.
And they don't match their clothes. I'm sorry.
You forgot the very important elbow pads on the outside of the coat.
Thank you.
Just saying, because that could wear out.
And I think most people today don't realize, look, they are tons of knowledge at those universities, but why is it that you have to pay for it? You got to ask yourself that question. Where is the money going to come from? $1.3 trillion. The default rates on student loans and automobiles, the two things that the lower income folks, middle and lower income folks have, are now increasing. Do I think that there's a problem around the corner? I do. I think there's a huge problem around the corner because the fees that go along with the default make it so that you can almost never get out of this debt.
Right.
And if you do, it's going to take 10, 15, 20 years. It's a long-term problem. So we come back, I'm going to give you some solutions, some things to worry about, especially if you are going down the road of retirement planning and you have a young person who's going to be in college and you're in your 50s or 60s. How do you make sure they can still get the education they need? How do you make sure that you don't end up saddling yourself with never being able to retire? We'll be back in just a minute. I'm Arif Halaby. That's Jeff Gerard. Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. We'll be right back.